Zara Thompson, aka Z, found herself in a radiant vortex, her body convulsing uncontrollably as she was teleported across the cosmos. Her fellow contestants, an assortment of alien oddities, writhed and wriggled alongside her. The chaotic symphony of colors and shapes swirled around them, their combined screams and squawks creating a cacophony of interstellar panic. Suddenly, the vortex expelled them like cosmic projectiles, and they plummeted towards a massive, iridescent amphitheater. The colossal celestial stadium loomed before them, its spiraling architecture defying the laws of physics and common sense. Zara gritted her teeth, bracing for impact as she hurtled towards the shimmering surface. A last-minute force field caught the contestants mere inches from the ground, suspending them in midair like a bizarre intergalactic puppet show. The crowd roared with anticipation, their voices echoing throughout the infinite expanse of the stadium. Cosmeter, the flamboyant host of the stellar showdown, materialized before them in a burst of dazzling light. His ever-changing form danced and twirled, casting kaleidoscopic shadows across the stage. Zara couldn't help but roll her eyes, wondering if the over-the-top spectacle was meant to distract them from the fact they were about to be flung into mortal peril. "Welcome, esteemed contestants, to the stellar showdown," Cosmeter boomed, his voice reverberating through the vast arena. "You have been chosen to represent your respective worlds in this most prestigious competition. Prepare to face the ultimate test of wit, agility, and sheer determination." As the other contestants exchanged nervous glances, Zara smirked. She'd dealt with worse back on Earth, and if this cosmic circus was the universe's idea of a challenge, she was ready to put on a show. "Now," Cosmeter continued, his luminous presence swelling with excitement, "let's discuss the rules and the grand prize, shall we?" He snapped his fingers, and a holographic display appeared beside him, detailing the competition's various trials and tribulations. To emerge victorious, you must outwit, outmaneuver, and outlast your opponents in a series of increasingly perilous challenges. Cosmeter's eyes sparkled with mischief as he scanned the anxious faces before him. "And what, pray tell, is the grand prize, you ask? Why, the coveted cosmic wish, of course. The victor will be granted a single wish, with the power to alter the very fabric of the universe itself. But beware," he warned, his tone suddenly grave. "For with great power comes... well, you know the rest." Zara raised an eyebrow, her thoughts racing. A single wish that could change the universe? It sounded too good to be true, and she'd learned the hard way that life rarely handed out such prizes without a hefty price tag. Still, she couldn't deny the allure of the offer, or the fierce determination that surged within her. With a wry grin, she thought, "Game on, Cosmeter. Let's see what this stellar showdown is really made of." Cosmeter's voice boomed across the colossal celestial stadium. "Welcome, esteemed contestants, to the first challenge of the stellar showdown, Quasar Quintet." Zara Thompson, the plucky earthling, exchanged nervous glances with her alien counterparts. The arena transformed before their eyes, revealing a labyrinth of deadly quasar beams. Zara's heart pounded in her chest as she took in the mesmerizing and terrifying sight. She couldn't help but roll her eyes at the absurdity of it all. Of course, the first challenge involves a deadly dance with quasars. Why not? It's not like I had anything better to do back on Earth. As the competition began, Zara found herself face to face with a lanky, purple-skinned competitor who sneered at her. She narrowed her eyes, her determination unwavering. "Sorry, pal. I didn't come all this way to be vaporized by your quasar Q-tips." With a quick sidestep, she evaded the lethal beam the creature had sent her way. The arena buzzed with activity, as Zara navigated the treacherous maze with agility and cunning. She darted, twisted, and dodged, narrowly avoiding the quasar beams that threatened to end her journey. Her sharp wit and resourcefulness allowed her to stay one step ahead of her opponents, even when they tried to team up against her. As Zara gracefully pirouetted between a pair of quasars, she couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of her situation. "I guess those ballet lessons my mom forced me into really paid off." She grinned mischievously, her eyes gleaming with triumph. Zara's quick thinking and adaptability proved invaluable as she maneuvered through the chaos, using the environment to her advantage. she discovered that by leaping onto a floating platform, she could dodge a particularly menacing beam while simultaneously sending her opponents scrambling for cover. Her actions earned a few grumbles and curses from the other contestants, but Zara was unfazed. She was here to win, and she wasn't about to let a few cosmic obstacles stand in her way. "Suck it up, buttercups," she called out, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "If you can't handle the heat, stay out of the Quasar kitchen." With each challenge she overcame, Zara's confidence grew. She knew she was making progress, and that knowledge fueled her determination to succeed. As she continued to outwit and outmaneuver her opponents, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her abilities. Maybe there's more to this Earth girl than meets the eye, she thought, a smirk playing on her lips. As the Quasar Quintet challenge wore on, the competitors began to drop like cosmic flies. With each elimination, the stakes grew higher, and Zara knew she had to stay focused if she wanted to make it to the next round. She scanned the arena, assessing her remaining opponents. There was Ribtor, the four-armed amphibious creature, who seemed to be holding his own. His agility and problem-solving skills were impressive, and Zara couldn't help but wonder if they might make a formidable team. But for now, she was on her own, and she was determined to prove herself. As the Quasar beams danced around her, Zara Thompson, the sarcastic, quick-witted Earthling, continued to defy the odds, one deadly step at a time. Zara narrowly avoided another Quasar beam, her heart pounding in her chest. She couldn't help but notice that Ribtor, the four-armed amphibious creature, was having a field day evading the deadly rays. With each graceful dodge, his green-blue scales seemed to sparkle with a mischievous glimmer. "Hey, Ribtor!" she called out, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're making this look way too easy." Ribtor glanced her way, a grin spreading across his face. "What can I say? When you're a master of aquatic acrobatics, evading a few space lasers is child's play." Zara chuckled, admiring his playful banter even amidst the chaos. The thought occurred to her that perhaps they could work together, combining their agility and problem-solving skills to outmaneuver the competition. But as she pondered the idea, she couldn't help but wonder if trusting an alien competitor was wise. "Listen, Ribtor," she began, panting slightly as she dodged yet another beam. "I think we could make a pretty formidable team if we joined forces." Ribtor's eyes widened in surprise, but he quickly recovered, a calculating look crossing his expressive face. "Well, Zara Thompson, I must admit, that's not an offer I hear every day. But what's in it for me?" Zara rolled her eyes. "Oh, I don't know. How about not getting vaporized by these lovely quasars? Besides, I have a feeling we could learn a thing or two from each other." Ribtor considered her proposal for a moment before nodding in agreement. "All right, Earthling, you've got yourself a deal. But remember, I'm a team player, and I expect the same from you." As Zara and Ribtor formed their tentative alliance, the other contestants began to take notice. Yalara, the purple-furred alien with piercing yellow eyes, approached Karnax, the avian-like creature with shimmering blue and green feathers. The two exchanged a few hushed words before nodding in unison, their newfound partnership evident in their coordinated movements. Meanwhile, Greyvox, the towering stone-skinned being, found himself drawn to Nelliana, the ethereal alien with ever-changing hues. As they bonded over their shared struggle to maintain their identities in the face of such intense competition, it became clear that they, too, were forming an alliance. Zara watched the other contestants pair off with a mix of amusement and determination. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but with Ribtor by her side, she was ready to face whatever the stellar showdown had in store. "All right, Ribtor," she said, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. "Let's show these intergalactic goons what Earthlings are made of." Ribtor let out a hearty laugh, his four arms raised in anticipation. "You heard the lady, folks. It's time to quasar dance our way to victory." Together, Zara and Ribtor charged forward, their newfound alliance stronger than any quasar beam that dared to stand in their way. Zara clung to a jagged asteroid, her heart pounding as a monstrous boulder roared past her, narrowly missing her scarred eyebrow. She couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. "This is it, folks. The Stellar Showdown's second challenge, dodgeball in space." The intercom crackled to life, Cosmeter's voice echoing through the asteroid field. Contestants, remember to use your wits, your agility, and your newfound alliances to overcome the treacherous hazards. Zara glanced over at Ribtor, who was deftly navigating the asteroids with his 4 arms. She was grateful for his quick thinking and agility, which had saved them both from being reduced to stardust more than once. As they hurtled through the cosmic chaos, Zara and Ribtor's bond grew stronger. They exchanged witty banter and sarcastic remarks, their humor acting as a defense mechanism against the danger surrounding them. "Watch out for that spinning rock of doom, Ribtor," Zara shouted, pointing to an asteroid that seemed to have a mind of its own. Ribtor laughed, his large eyes gleaming with excitement. "Thanks for the heads up, Zara. I'll steer us clear of that celestial death trap." Meanwhile, Gravox and Neliana were not far behind. Gravox's towering figure cast a protective shadow over the ethereal Neliana, his stone-like skin and glowing eyes conveying his formidable presence. As a massive asteroid hurtled towards them, Gravox placed himself in harm's way, shielding Neliana with his body. "Gravox, you big oaf!" Zara exclaimed, admiration and amusement in her voice. "You just saved Neliana from a cosmic beatdown." Gravox's deep, rumbling laughter filled the airwaves. "Just doing my part, Zara. After all, we're in this together." Zara grinned, her heart swelling with gratitude for her fellow contestants. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but with Ribtor and the others by her side, she felt ready to take on the universe. "All right, team," she said, her voice steady and determined. "Let's show these asteroids who's boss." Together, Zara, Ribtor, Gravox, and Neliana continued their treacherous journey through the asteroid field, their combined strength and determination proving to be a formidable force in the stellar showdown. Amidst the chaos of the asteroid field, a heated argument erupted between Yalara and Karnax. Their voices crackled through the communication devices, echoing in Zara's ears as she dodged another colossal space rock. "I'm telling you, Yalara, we need to focus on the cosmic wish." Karnax's voice squeaked with urgency, his feathers ruffled in agitation. "It's the key to winning this competition." "And I'm telling you, Karnax," Yalara growled, her purple fur bristling, "that we won't get anywhere by chasing after some mystical prize. We need to take out our rivals, one by one." Ribtor glanced at Zara, his wide eyes filled with amusement. "Looks like our feline friend has her claws out," he quipped, expertly maneuvering their spacecraft around a cluster of smaller asteroids. Zara chuckled, shaking her head. "They're going to tear each other apart at this rate." Just as she spoke, Ribtor's sensors beeped frantically. "Whoa! I think we've got company!" he exclaimed, pointing to a seemingly innocuous asteroid ahead. As they approached, the asteroid's surface shifted, revealing a hidden entrance. Zara's eyes widened in astonishment as they entered a vast cavern, filled with luminescent crystals and bustling with alien life. "What in the cosmos?" Ribtor breathed in awe. The inhabitants of the hidden civilization, a group of small, translucent creatures with multiple limbs, swarmed their spacecraft. Zara and Ribtor exchanged nervous glances, but it soon became clear that the aliens meant them no harm. One of the creatures, who introduced itself as Zelxor, spoke to them in a series of melodic chirps and clicks, its words translated by a device provided by Cosmeter. "Greetings, travelers. We have been waiting for you. We have much to share about the upcoming challenges and the cosmic wish." Zara's heart pounded with excitement as Zelxor and its kin shared valuable information, their eyes gleaming with gratitude. As they listened, Ribtor nudged her gently. "Looks like we've made some friends in low places." Zara grinned, her laughter echoing through the cavernous chamber. "You know what they say, Ribtor. In space, no one can hear you laugh at your own jokes." An ethereal hum permeated the air as Zara and Ribtor approached the massive figure of Gravox, who was deep in conversation with the enigmatic Neliana. The luminescent crystals from the hidden civilization shimmered in their wake, casting an otherworldly glow on the group's faces. Zara took a deep breath, and with a mischievous grin she said, "Well, if it isn't Gravox Stonewall Stoneshield and the mysterious Neliana. Fancy meeting you here, in the ass end of the cosmos." Gravox raised an eyebrow, his deep, rumbling laughter bouncing off the cavern walls. Zara Thompson, the queen of sarcasm herself. What brings you and your amphibious friend to our corner of the universe? Ribtor's translucent skin flushed a soft blue, and he fidgeted with one of his many arms. Well, we've got some information that might interest you. It's about the cosmic wish and the upcoming challenges. Neliana's eyes narrowed, her voice dripping with suspicion. Why should we trust you? You're our competition. Zara met her gaze, her tone steady and resolute. Because sometimes it pays to work together. We've all got a better shot at making it through this insanity if we pool our resources and knowledge. Gravox considered her words, his stone-like features softening as he nodded. She's got a point, Neliana. We could use all the help we can get. As they shared their newfound knowledge with Gravox and Neliana, a fragile alliance formed, bound by trust and a shared desire to survive the stellar showdown. The next challenge loomed before them, a sentient supernova pulsating with raw, unbridled energy. Its tendrils of molten plasma snaked through the void, threatening to consume anything that dared to approach. Zara gulped, her palms slick with sweat as she muttered, "Well, this looks about as pleasant as a toothache in zero gravity." Ribtor chuckled nervously, his forearms trembling. "Always the optimist, aren't you, Zara?" Gravox's massive frame tensed, his eyes locked onto the writhing mass of energy. "We'll have to move quickly and work together. The longer we're exposed to this thing, the more dangerous it becomes." As they began their treacherous ascent, the supernova's tendrils lashed out, trying to ensnare the group. Zara deftly dodged a searing plasma bolt, her heart racing as she watched Ribtor and Gravox struggle to keep up. Suddenly, a tendril coiled around Neliana's leg, its scorching heat causing her to cry out in pain. Without hesitation, Gravox lunged forward, ripping the tendril away and shielding her from the supernova's wrath. But in that moment of selflessness, Gravox was struck by a stray bolt of plasma. He stumbled, his massive form crumpling to the ground as tendrils of energy snaked across his body. Zara's eyes widened in horror as she watched Neliana abandon the group, leaving Gravox to fend for himself as she scrambled to safety. Fury and betrayal surged through Zara's veins, her voice shaking with rage. "Neliana, you can't just leave him. We're supposed to be a team." But Neliana's only response was a cold, calculated smile as she disappeared into the distance, leaving Zara and Ribtor to face the wrath of the sentient supernova alone. The air in the celestial stadium crackled with anticipation as the final 3 contestants stood before Cosmeter, the exuberant host of the stellar showdown. Zara's short, dark hair stood on end, static electricity sparking around her head like a halo of chaos. She couldn't help but roll her eyes at the pomp and circumstance of it all. Still, she couldn't deny the thrill of making it this far. Ribtor, the agile, 4-armed amphibious creature, bounced nervously on his webbed feet, while Gravox, the hulking, stone-like alien, hobbled beside him, still nursing his injuries from the betrayal of Neliana. The tension between the remaining contestants was palpable, and Zara couldn't help but feel a pang of guilt for her part in their predicament. As Cosmeter droned on about the grand prize, the coveted cosmic wish, Zara's mind began to wander. The glittering trophy, a swirling vortex of stardust and energy, seemed to call to her, whispering promises of power and untold riches. But something about it left a bitter taste in her mouth. She glanced at Ribtor, whose large, expressive eyes seemed to mirror her own concerns. The cosmic wish was too good to be true, and the lengths to which the contestants had gone to secure it were nothing short of monstrous. The thought of what she might have to do to win weighed heavily on her conscience. Zara's gaze shifted to Gravox, who stood stoically, his face a mask of determination. Despite his injuries, he seemed resolute in his desire to win. But at what cost? Zara couldn't help but wonder if the cosmic wish was worth sacrificing their morals and the lives of their fellow contestants. Suddenly, a holographic projection flickered to life before them, revealing a montage of past contestants who had won the cosmic wish. Each of them beamed with pride and satisfaction, their dreams seemingly fulfilled. But as Zara watched more closely, she noticed something sinister lurking beneath the surface. The winner's eyes were tinged with madness, their smiles twisted into grotesque parodies of happiness. They had been driven to desperate and violent acts in their quest for the cosmic wish, and the weight of their actions seemed to haunt them like a malevolent specter. Zara's stomach churned as she realized the true nature of the cosmic wish. It was a curse, a twisted reflection of the darkest desires of the contestants who sought it. And now, she and her remaining allies were caught in its insidious web. She turned to Ribtor, her voice barely a whisper. "We can't let this go on any longer. We have to expose the truth behind the cosmic wish before it destroys us all." Ribtor nodded solemnly, his colloquial expressions replaced with a steely resolve. "You're right, Zara. We can't let the cosmic wish corrupt us any further. We must find a way to end this nightmare once and for all." As the tension between the final three contestants reached a boiling point, Zara knew that the ultimate showdown was imminent. She steeled herself for the challenges ahead, determined to uncover the truth and put an end to the sinister legacy of the cosmic wish. With a wry smile, she whispered to Ribtor, "Well, partner, it looks like we're in for one hell of a ride. Let's see if we can't turn this cosmic circus into a comedy of errors." Together, they faced the swirling vortex of the cosmic wish, their determination unwavering in the face of the impossible choice that awaited them. For Zara, the stakes had never been higher, and she knew that the fate of the universe rested on her ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the stellar showdown. But as she stood on the precipice of destiny, she couldn't help but wonder if the true cost of victory was a price she was willing to pay. The celestial stadium shimmered with a kaleidoscope of colors, a dazzling spectacle that belied the tension simmering within its confines. Zara Thompson, her heart pounding in her chest, stood shoulder to shoulder with her alien comrades, Ribtor and Gravox. They were the last contestants remaining in the stellar showdown, and the air was thick with anticipation. Cosmeter, the exuberant host, materialized before them in a burst of radiant light. His ever-changing form danced with a flamboyant energy that made Zara's eyes roll involuntarily. "Ah, my dear finalists, you have braved the perils of the cosmos, and now only one challenge remains." He paused for dramatic effect, his voice booming like a cosmic thunderclap. "The final trial, my dear friends, is none other than the dilemma of the Dark Star." Zara's stomach churned as Cosmeter elaborated on the challenge. Each contestant would be teleported to a separate point within the treacherous Dark Star. They would have to navigate its deadly maze, evading its relentless gravity wells and avoiding the lethal radiation that permeated its depths. But there was a twist. The first to reach the heart of the Dark Star would be granted a single wish, but at a terrible cost. The wish would only be granted if the contestants sacrificed the lives of their fellow finalists, condemning them to an eternity trapped within the star's inescapable gravity. Zara's mind reeled as she processed the horrifying implications. She cast a glance at Gravox, whose stone-like exterior seemed to be cracking under the weight of the challenge. A patchwork of deep fissures marred his once imposing figure, evidence of the injuries he had sustained during their earlier trials. His amber eyes met hers, and she saw a flicker of uncertainty that betrayed his usual stoic demeanor. "Hey, Gravox," she began, her voice laced with a mixture of concern and sardonic humor. "I don't suppose you'd consider taking a rain check on this little suicide mission, would you? I mean, I'm all for a good challenge, but this seems like a bit much, even for a cosmic game show." Gravox hesitated, the internal conflict evident in his expression. He opened his mouth to speak, but Zara cut him off, her tone growing more serious. "Look, I get it. We all want to win, and we've come this far. But is it really worth sacrificing our friends, our allies, just for the sake of a wish? I don't know about you, but I'd rather go down fighting than sell my soul for a shot at glory." Gravox's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Zara thought she had gotten through to him. But then, his expression hardened, and he turned away, his voice barely more than a whisper. "I cannot abandon my people, Zara. They need me to win this wish, to save them from the darkness that threatens to consume our world." Zara's heart sank as she realized the depth of Gravox's conviction. She knew that there was no turning back now, that they were all irrevocably bound to the twisted rules of the stellar showdown. With a heavy heart, she looked to Ribtor, hoping against hope that he might offer some semblance of a solution. But the amphibious alien merely shrugged his 4 shoulders, a resigned expression on his face. And so, with a sense of grim determination, Zara prepared to face the final challenge. She knew that the odds were stacked against them, that the dilemma of the Dark Star would push them to their limits, and perhaps beyond. But she was Zara Thompson, damn it, and she wouldn't go down without a fight. As the celestial stadium faded away and the inky blackness of the Dark Star enveloped her, she couldn't help but wonder if this was the end of the line, or if, somehow, they might find a way to turn the tables on their manipulative host and claim victory on their own terms. Only time would tell. But for now, all she could do was cling to her wits, her courage, and the fragile bond she shared with her fellow contestants. Together, they would face the darkness, or be consumed by it. Zara stood on the precipice of the Dark Star, her heart pounding in her chest as she clutched the cosmic wish in her trembling hand. Ribtor, his forearms flailing in a mix of excitement and anxiety, hovered beside her. And there was Gravox, his massive stone-like form hunched over in pain, a silent sentinel to their impending victory. "Gravox," Zara began, her voice cracking as she tried to keep the emotion at bay. "You don't have to do this. There has to be another way." The towering figure looked up, his eyes filled with a tenderness that seemed almost comical in such a formidable being. "Zara, my dear," he boomed, his voice reverberating through the dark expanse. "Sometimes the greatest victories come at the greatest cost." Zara scoffed, her sarcasm rearing its head even in such a dire moment. "You sound like a bad Hallmark card." But the quiver in her voice betrayed her true feelings. "Perhaps," Gravox chuckled, wincing as he shifted his weight. "But it is the truth. Now go. Use the cosmic wish to free yourselves and Ribtor. I will remain here, a guardian of the Dark Star. It is my choice, and I make it willingly." As Zara hesitated, Ribtor chimed in, his amphibious voice tinged with concern. "Gravox, are you sure? This isn't some sort of weird alien trick, is it?" Gravox let out a deep, rumbling laugh. "No, my friend. No tricks. Just a simple sacrifice for the greater good." Zara's eyes welled up with tears as she looked at Gravox, his imposing figure bathed in the eerie glow of the Dark Star. She wanted to argue, to find another way, but she knew in her heart that he was right. This was the only option. With a heavy heart, she turned to Ribtor and whispered, "I'm so sorry." Then, raising her voice, she declared, "I wish for Ribtor and myself to be freed from the Dark Star and return to safety, with all memories of this ordeal intact." The cosmic wish shimmered in her hand, its power surging through her like an electrical current. And then, with a brilliant flash of light, they were gone. Zara found herself back in the celestial stadium, Ribtor by her side. The crowd roared with approval, showering them with confetti and cheers. But all Zara could think about was Gravox, forever stranded on the Dark Star, a lonely guardian in the depths of space. As the weight of her decision settled upon her, she felt a crushing guilt that threatened to consume her. She had won the stellar showdown, yes, but at what cost? Was this victory truly worth the sacrifice of her newfound friend? In that moment, Zara realized that the true challenge of the stellar showdown wasn't the deadly quasars or the treacherous asteroid fields. It was the moral quandaries and the heart-wrenching choices that came with wielding the power of the cosmic wish. And as she stood there, bathed in the adoration of the crowd, Zara couldn't help but wonder if she had truly won it all. For the first time in her life, she questioned the true cost of victory and the moral implications of the cosmic wish. And she knew, deep down, that she would carry the weight of this decision with her for the rest of her days. Zara stood at the precipice of victory, her heart heavy with guilt. The confetti rained down upon her and Ribtor, but their triumph felt hollow. The raucous cheers of the crowd echoed through the cosmos, a stark contrast to the deafening silence within Zara's soul. She glanced at Ribtor, who wore an expression of discomfort, his forearms fidgeting nervously. "I can't shake the feeling that we've left something, or someone behind," he muttered, his reptilian eyes glancing towards the dark star, now a distant speck in the vastness of space. Zara's gaze followed Ribtor's, and she sighed deeply. "You're right, Ribtor. We did." Her eyes narrowed with determination. "But that's about to change." Cosmeter, the radiant host, floated towards the pair, his luminous form casting prismatic reflections on the gleaming stadium floor. "Ah, our victorious contestants. Congratulations on your well-deserved win," he beamed, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within Zara. Zara's voice was steady, her tone resolute. "Cosmeter, I've made a decision." The luminescent's eyebrows, if he had any, would have raised in surprise. "Oh? Do tell." "I want to use the cosmic wish to undo the stellar showdown, to return every contestant to their homeworld, and erase their memories of this competition." Her eyes shone with conviction, her words sincere. Cosmeter's glow flickered, his composure faltering for a brief moment before regaining his usual exuberance. "Well, well, Zara, that's quite the request. A selfless wish indeed." He chuckled, a low rumble that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the cosmos. The crowd grew silent, watching the exchange with bated breath. With a grandiose flourish, Cosmeter declared, "Very well, Zara Thompson. Your wish is my command." A wave of energy surged through the stadium, as if the cosmos itself held its breath. One by one, the contestants vanished, leaving trails of stardust in their wake. The celestial arena began to fade, its once majestic structure crumbling into particles of light. As the stellar showdown disintegrated around them, Zara felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She turned to Ribtor, a small smile playing on her lips. "Looks like we managed to right a few wrongs after all." Ribtor grinned, his teeth gleaming in the fading light. "Indeed, Zara, a most satisfactory outcome." With a final burst of cosmic energy, Zara and Ribtor were enveloped in a warm, comforting glow. And as the celestial stadium ceased to exist, they knew that the stellar showdown had become nothing more than a distant memory, a fleeting dream in the vast expanse of the universe. And somewhere, on a forgotten dark star, a solitary figure stirred, his thoughts and memories returning to him. Gravox looked up at the heavens and smiled, grateful for the second chance at life that had been granted to him by a friend who had valued justice and fairness above all else. Zara Thompson, now Z, stood on the familiar concrete of Earth, her eyes adjusting to the mundane colors of her hometown after the dazzling spectacle of the cosmos. She let out a sigh of relief, her soul feeling lighter than it had in what seemed like an eternity. She looked around, taking in the sights and sounds of the bustling city. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted from a nearby cafe, and she couldn't help but chuckle at the sight of a dog relentlessly chasing its tail in the park. "Ah, the simple pleasures of life," she mused, shaking her head in amusement. As Z strolled down the sidewalk, she couldn't help but reflect on the lessons she'd learned during her interstellar escapades. Her sarcastic wit had served her well, but it was her newfound ability to form genuine connections with others that truly stood out. Zara's thoughts drifted to Ribtor, the four-armed amphibious creature who had become an unlikely ally and friend. "I wonder if he's missing our cosmic adventures as much as I am," she said to herself, a wistful smile playing on her lips. A pang of guilt tugged at her heart as she recalled Gravox, the gentle giant who had sacrificed so much for their alliance. Zara's eyes narrowed in determination, and she vowed to live up to the trust he had placed in her. As she passed a small, independent bookstore, Zara felt a sudden urge to step inside. The scent of aged paper and the quiet rustle of turning pages filled her senses, providing a comforting contrast to the chaos of the stellar showdown. She ran her fingers along the spines of the books, each title a promise of new worlds and experiences. Zara picked up a worn copy of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and chuckled, remembering the absurdity of her own cosmic journey. She brought the book to the counter, exchanging a few light-hearted jabs with the cashier about the perils of space travel. Leaving the store, Zara took a deep breath and gazed up at the sky, the memories of her celestial adventures now forever etched in her mind. She knew that her life's trajectory had changed, and she was eager to see where this new path would lead her. "Here's to the next chapter," she murmured, a confident smile spreading across her face. "May it be filled with just as much laughter, friendship, and adventure as the last." With that, Zara Thompson continued her journey through the vast expanse of life, her spirit unburdened, and her heart full of cosmic memories that would fuel her dreams for years to come.